Okay,
How this is so different being
it's
on
very
Zoom.
different, and
Yeah.
I think we are recording. It says we're
Oh, it says
recording.
recording, so we must be recording.
Right. What I don't like about this, and people were using Zoom now for the second time, and first time on our regular podcast, we did a guest speaker spot last week, and it's good for that. It certainly is, but it seems to have slightly better recording quality. We're not sure if we're going to get the side by side view that we like out of this. And it doesn't have the clock anywhere, which drives me crazy. I like to see
Oh,
that.
yeah.
So I'll keep an eye on that manually. But, anyways, welcome to Over
Hey,
50 Starting Over. I'm Barry
and
Edwards.
I'm Merle Garrison.
And here we are going to try to talk about anything but the coronavirus.
I don't
And
know if
I'm
that's
just
gonna
kidding.
work.
It's not possible. It's not
Oh,
possible.
the
But
show's
there's,
over.
yeah, exactly. But there's a lot of stuff to talk about and how we're dealing with it,
True.
and ramifications. For instance, Merle, this is something I bet few people that haven't thought about, and that is I'm an Airbnb host,
Oh, yeah.
and without question, you would expect I've just had nothing but cancellations, right,
Ah,
in the last
right.
weeks for sure, to be expected, and that's a tough nut because now not only do I not have that income coming in, I still have those bills like a mortgage and utilities going out.
Right.
So it's tough in that regard. But then just the day before yesterday at that night, so it was a Tuesday night, I got a request for a family to stay in my house for the entire month of April.
Oh,
So first thing, right off the bat, I'm like, hell yeah, oh, this is terrific. Second, but then they didn't have any reviews. I don't auto book just anybody. All I get is a first name. So if they don't have any reviews, I'm immediately thinking, well, they got bad reviews somewhere, or
mm,
they have a record, or it's not good. My skepticism goes through the roof right away. So I immediately I say that, and I say it in my profile. Look, if you got no reviews, you have to supply me with your last name, social media profiles, your location, everything, so I could do my own minor background check.
right, right.
Okay, so they did that, and they checked out fine. They're from Burbank, California.
Oh, right down the street from me.
A very
From our
affluent,
Hollywood studio.
yeah, very affluent community. So they checked out in that regard, but still, I'm going to myself. I'm talking over with Lisa. Why the hell does anyone want to come here during a pandemic? We're in lockdown in Ohio. We're in total lockdown here, and except for going out for groceries.
Right, right.
That's about it. I think California, is in the exact same state. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So Lisa being super, super cautious, she's like, yeah, I don't know. I don't feel good about it. And I have 24 hours to make a decision. That's the way it works. And so I did inquire, hey, why do you want to come out to a state during this time when it's in lockdown? It's just an unprecedented time. So please excuse me, but I'm curious.
It's
And
a
she
great
replied,
question.
and she gave a great answer. She's like, I totally get it. My husband is from Cleveland. We've been thinking about relocating. Uh, so we want to take advantage of the opportunity. The kids are totally shut down with sports, school, everything for 3 months.
Right.
So we're not going to fly. We're going to drive. And he's doing some programs there anyway. Now it was so her husband, 3 kids, and a dog, which
Mm,
is a lot for
yeah.
my house. I told her that
Right,
too. I
right.
said, I have 3 bedrooms, but 2 beds, and it would be very crowded. She's like, nah, no problem. We're good with being cozy for this, temporary stay. It's 1 month. So still, I had to struggle with this, man. Think about bringing a family of 5 into your house for a month when you don't know what the end of April is going to look like. Okay, so
Mm,
on the one hand, I got my mortgage and utilities paid for plus a little profit, or uh, with the risk of bringing the frickin' coronavirus flu into my house, and I got to clean
Well,
it.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's a big
kind of
that's a
big.
big thing to think about.
It's kind of big, but to have that pay, in a time when no one's spending any other money and everything's so uncertain. So I came up with kind of a compromise, and I replied back, look, because the news is still so bad every morning, I watch the morning news, and that's about it. I mean, I'm very limited because of the horror stories. I don't want to get caught up, and
Right.
there's a lot of hysterical news out there. And I
Mm.
could point it out right now. I have Google News up, and there's just ridiculous panic inducing type of news out there. So, anyways, I just said, but so until we just get a little bit on the other side, I said, if you're still interested in a week or two, please then apply. Uh, but right now, I'm shutting down through the first week of April, and that's what I did just to give it some more time. And right now,
Right. Right.
and then I talked this through with my friends. Dan, the fireman, rents out his house. He was considering doing Airbnb when he just had a change in tenants here recently. But he's like, oh, dude, he goes, right now, he goes, we're going to be going through this crap for the rest of the year, different ramifications. He goes, if I were you, I would get a long-term tenant in there. That's your best case scenario. I talked to my buddy JT, who also does Airbnb. He's in the same boat as I am. He lost all of his tenants, and he was booked for the next 5-6 months solid.
Oh,
And he said, the way you handled it is perfect. And he goes, I would say go no less than a month, or maybe look for 3-month renters. So I put myself on Zillow for 1 month minimum. I changed I'm hoping for really like a 3-month interval. See, I got in the Heights of Cleveland, I get a lot of people that have to do with the hospitals. So residents, people like
right.
that.
Right.
So they
Right.
need like a 6-month, a 3-month, or something. So that's what I'm hoping to leave available. But I'm telling you right now, I don't want somebody in there for 2 weeks, 1 week. I'm the one that goes in there and cleans it, and I wouldn't feel good about hiring a cleaning crew and putting them. Uh,
Right. Right. Right.
so that's where I'm at. I just wanted to, I just wanted to show the impact it's having on me in particular in that regard. So I'm eating the money, and I'll just figure it out when things stabilize a little bit more, unless somebody wants to come in for an extended period of time after the second week of April. Weird.
Yeah, it's impacting everyone in a similar manner, and I can see why you wouldn't want to have
Yeah.
anybody coming from an area like California to your home right now, especially because of what you see in the news. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, New York and California have been hit the hardest,
Right.
and here comes a family with kids.
Mm,
We all know kids are carriers.
right.
And bringing them into your house and everything, and then like you talked about, the panic inducing news.
Hmm.
We're hearing that the virus can stay on things for a while, so then
Yeah.
here you come to clean it up. And yeah, wow,
Exactly.
that would be a tough position to be in. And it
Mm.
seems your choice seems to be a wise choice. I mean, just delay a little bit. But what do you think, Barry? I mean, you're hearing, okay, this could be something that's over quickly, and then other people are saying it's going to be a long time. What's your
Mm.
gut feeling on that?
Oh, I got a lot of feelings on it. They're very mixed because you start reading some things, you hear some things. It's unavoidable. Uh, I still tend to think that we're going to get on the other side of it sooner than most reports say, simply because we're coming to the end of flu season very rapidly
Yeah.
here. Back to that family. No, I want to ask your opinion. I tend to think that they probably want to flee California for the worst month, this worst month, April. Do you think that? Like, think that's the real motivation there?
Well, I tell you what, it does seem like out here in California where I am, it kind of feels like we're trapped here. And getting in your car and driving far away.
Real far away.
Yeah. I mean, it would be odd, though, I have to say, that the first place you would choose is Cleveland to drive away to. I don't know
True.
that that's what I would do. And it seems like, here, I don't know what kind of project this person is into, but it, there there's questions that I would have in my mind, just like you do. And
Yeah.
you know, the bottom line is they're probably on the up and up,
I
but being
think so.
cautious at this time seems like a pretty good idea. But I don't, oh boy, I don't know
You
how to
know,
help you on this one.
I know, and that's kind of my point. My point is just to illustrate the tough decisions that we have to make on our feet right now.
We
And
really do.
yeah, and it's like it's hard to make. It's hard to be sure you're making a good one. There's just really important things going on, like life or death decisions being made right now.
I
We
know,
both
I
heavy
know what you're
sigh.
saying. I do. It's like you look at the stock market and you're like, oh my gosh, should I sell? Well, if you sell
Oh,
now, you're screwing yourself.
that would be a great time to buy if you had a
Yeah,
stash.
yeah. But the
Yeah.
panic makes you like, oh my gosh, I could lose everything, and these
Yes.
businesses could go out of business, and it's one of those
Yeah.
things where it's very uncomfortable.
It's very uncomfortable, and God only knows how businesses are going to be changing now, that in ways that we would never have expected due to the virus. I don't know. Some businesses may have to pivot and be forever changed. Some may go out of business. Some may thrive as a result of being able to supply things, medical mass toilet paper, paper towels, whatever. I don't know, but it could have business as we knew it change a bit in unexpected ways.
Well, we're already seeing that. Companies right now are using this technology that we're using to
True.
continue to do business. And hey, the good news is that there are companies out there that are still thriving. There are companies out there that are still hiring, as a matter of fact. And as you know, I'm looking for employment right now, and I actually have two interviews tomorrow, and
That's
one of
exciting.
them is on Zoom. So
Sure.
I wanted to ask you this:
Mm.
um, when you have an interview on Zoom, what do you wear?
Something very nice from the waist up. You know,
Well,
other
okay.
other than that, just don't stand up.
Right. No, that's good. I had a previous interview on Zoom. I think it was on Zoom, and I wore a suit.
I
And
think that's smart.
well, sure, but the very first thing the guy said when I came online was, "Boy, I hope you didn't wear that just for me." And then I didn't get an interview after that. So
Well, I would not say that that was the reason. Though, geez, you're just so competent and you come off so very
I
polished,
know
and
he was crazy for not
he certainly
hiring me.
was. But here's my theory, or I guess my theory, my saying, my whole life. I would rather be overdressed than underdressed
I agree.
in any
I agree.
situation. It's a horrible feeling when it's like, oh, I didn't dress appropriately for, but hey, if you're overdressed, hey, girls go crazy for the sharp dressed man. You can fall back
Well,
on that.
you're right. Speaking of being underdressed, I remember one time I had a meeting down in San Diego with one of my clients and at hospital, and I had my suit and everything, and I was only planning on being there for that afternoon and then driving back home. And the meeting went really well, and they asked me to come back again for this meeting as really one of their advisors the next day. And I said, well, I'm really not prepared for that. All I have is really a T-shirt to wear, and I mean, I've already got this that I'm wearing. I can't wear this tomorrow. And they said, "Oh no, that's okay. It's going to be a very casual meeting. Just wear your T-shirt." So I said,
Oh,
"Oh, okay." And
I
so I
see
had
where
this,
this is going.
I had this Pink Floyd T-shirt. And I come walking in the door, and you would not believe everyone was dressed. Like everyone was wearing suits or business outfits, and they all like turned their heads all at the same time and looked at me. And oh my gosh, I must have lit up like a red light at a stoplight. And I sat down at the table, and man, but I had a lot to contribute during the meeting. And months later, one of the people at the meeting, I was talking with her, and she said, boy, when you came in with that Pink Floyd t-shirt on, I thought, what confidence this guy has coming with a t-shirt on.
I was wondering if you did make that mental shift and try to roll with that. Screw it,
Yeah.
I'm a rock star.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. You know what, you got to do what you got to do. And
Right.
that was the impression that I left, was that I was very confident and I came off as competent. So, hey, you know what? You can't win for losing, or you can't lose for winning. I don't know what the expression is, but hey, it turned out to be a win. So
That's great. That's a good story. Hey, so I wanted to follow up on one of my big concerns with our new lockdown that happened a week and a half ago. It was a week ago last Monday. I know that's when my gym gave me the notice that they were forced to lock down.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh no. So my plan was to go through the rest of that week with just not working out, so I could kind of bottom out and figure out what I was going to do from there. Because to me, the prospects of working out at home does not thrill me whatsoever. It's
Right.
like, oh, what a drag. And so I had to figure it out, because the other side of it is as I have told you repeatedly, is I need to burn off that kind of nervous energy in the morning.
Right.
And I do it through exercise, and I'm training my mind with what it's thinking about during that time. It's really important to me. So I had a horrible time getting through the week. And then weekends, fine, Lisa and I doing our thing. But I had to figure out what I was going to do for this week. We're at Thursday now. Well, so Monday, I picked up my big rubber band thing. They're called those resistance bands, or like a giant rubber band. Yeah,
Yep.
Handles on each end. You could do so many different exercises with that. So armed with that and a yoga mat, I started doing the kind of curls and tricep exercises and stuff with that, and with the yoga mat doing ab workouts, sit-ups, and different kinds of sit-ups and stuff. But
That's
kind of
good.
quickly get to looking around, wandering around, going to the bathroom, looking in the mirror, not liking what you see there, going in. And so I had a pretty lousy workout, but a workout. And I was still like, oh, this sucks. I need to figure this out, because this is going to be at least a month. Okay. And so I had the brilliant idea. So Tuesday morning, I looked up YouTube stuff. I figured there's got to be everything on demand here. I went to YouTube and I typed in-home workouts. Sure enough, got a beautiful list. And what I don't want is I don't want a drill sergeant telling me things to do and yelling at me and stuff. That I happened upon a perfect outfit, a company organization called the Body Project. So if anyone's now, you can find anything you want on there. So I'm just going to talk about my really good experience here with the Body Project. So the main guy that heads it up is not over the top whatsoever, and it's cardio. Like, so I'm just kind of running in place on my yoga mat, and then you're switching up all the time. Then you're doing the knee lifts, then you're kind of like doing boxing practice for a while, punches, things like that, and for a half hour. And it was great. By the time I'm done with that, I did have a full cardio workout. I'm breathing heavy. I'm sweating my butt off. And then I put on top of it some quick push-ups, kind of like you call them the girly push-ups, because my shoulder can't do old ones very well. But, 2 or 3 sets of 20 does the job.
Yeah, no kidding. And that's
does
good.
The job.
I wish you didn't call them girly push-ups, though, because you took the fun out of it.
I know. And then, the rubber band thing, as I told you about, and the ab workout. So that's what
Oh,
I've
that's
done for
really
the last
good.
3 mornings. Tuesday,
Yeah.
Wednesday, and Thursday this morning, I had great workouts.
Ah, wow.
Yeah,
You know what? And I get it. It is tough to change up your routine. I mean,
it
I was
is.
at the gym as well, and then shortly before they closed the gym, I started to get really paranoid about going to the gym and
Mm,
possibly getting somebody's
yeah,
corona sweat on me. So
sure,
I stopped going, and then they shut it down. It's still shut down right now,
sure.
and so Anne Marie and I have been going on these bicycle rides, and
Nice.
that has been really great. Really getting out of the house and breathing in fresh air
Yeah.
has been an amazing thing. And there's a nice hill we've been riding up together and all, and we get to be together too. So that's been pretty nice.
Dude, that's great. That's a really nice adjustment. It's a positive adjustment to a crappy situation. And that's what I'm trying to share mine as well. And by the way, I wanted to say that with the body project, they do different levels. I started with the beginner one because I didn't, I just wanted a
Right.
decent
Yeah.
workout. And it was a good workout. It's great. You get out of it what you put into it. They're not there watching you and yelling at you for real anyway. So then I did something like an intermediate workout, I think, yesterday. And then this morning, I did the HIT training. And HIT, that's HIIT. And
Huh.
I want to briefly explain that. That's been around for about 5 or 6 years. It's called high intensive interval training, HIT.
Oh.
Okay. Now, what that is, that was originally developed from studies done, if I recall. It was like Cornell University or Cambridge or one of those really big, with a bunch of smart people,
Right.
universities there. And so it was found that if you do like super high intensity cardio for 1 minute solid, and the best version of this I've found over the years that I've known about 5 years I've known about this, is like an exercise bike. So I'll use
Uh-huh.
that as the example. Think going balls out as fast as you can, as hard as you can for a minute. Now you can do it for 30-second intervals too. I
Mhm.
should say there are two different methods. There is the complete balls out for 30 seconds, because literally you can't do more than that. Or it'd be like sprinting down the road as fast as you could. You can't do it for longer than 30 seconds. And then you stop and you catch your breath for a minute. Now, the one I'm doing, the version of it I was doing this morning, as I think about it, is you're doing this, you're not doing it absolutely hard as you get. You're going hard for 1 minute, a full minute. And then you're resting for 30 seconds. And then you're doing another good cardio exercise for another minute and resting for 30 seconds. And you're switching off like that. Now, what this does is it's a fat burner, and it can even reverse stage 2 diabetes, which is
Hmm.
the kind of diabetes that can occur later in life if you gain weight and then become susceptible, because your muscles will actively go looking for sugar to pull out of your system to burn.
I see. Okay. So
Yeah,
yeah, because
so
I've
it's
heard that interval is really
yeah.
the key here. So what do now, do you have an exercise bike, or are you doing
Mm.
this like on the mat?
Yeah, good question, because I didn't think about how I was going to say this until I started talking about it right here, right now. That's why I wanted to explain the difference. The first version that I heard of years ago was like on an exercise bike. I used to do it on one of those elliptical machines.
Yeah, I love
So,
those.
yeah, me too, because they're low impact
Right.
on everything. And so, yeah, I would go just as hard as I could for 30 seconds, and then go slow for a minute while I regain, and they'll go really hard for 30 seconds. Now, the idea behind this is in 7 minutes, you're done, and you could be done for the day. And you're just, as long as you are watching what you eat, because trust me, you're going to be craving bad food after that, because your body, again, is pulling sugar out of the system. All
Right,
right.
right.
And is causing fat to burn. So it's terrific in that regard. So no, what I was doing this morning was that kind of running in place type stuff on the yoga mat, to that fitness instructor. And he's got two people behind him that, he's doing it along with. So it's like you're in the gym with them. And, it, and so it was 1 minute intervals of this kind of high intensity, you know, doing high knee kicks, if I'm saying
Right.
that right,
Okay.
and doing the boxing kind of stuff. And it made me think, and this is what I want to share with people. I don't care if you go to the Body Project, who I'm pumping up right here for no reason other than I had a great experience myself. You could do Pilates, you could do yoga. I'm thinking about trying some boxing stuff along those lines because I was enjoying that, and it's hard. I mean, uh, punching a bag and stuff like that is incredibly tiring. Years ago, like
No
15 to,
kidding.
yeah, 15 to 20 years ago, I used to go to a gym and do kickboxing cardio.
Hmm.
And that is incredibly tiring, but you're stretching out. See, I found, because I've been lazy about stretching out. I work out, but I've just gotten lazy about doing all the stretching along with it over these years.
It's
So
so
I was thinking,
boring.
it is. That's what it is. It's boring. So I was thinking that as we're in this different time, I think I'll try out some kickboxing again for a while. Some of these YouTube videos, so I can just stretch out again.
Yeah.
It's different. I'm embracing this oh, here's the other thing, Merle. So while I'm doing this stuff, which is kind of like what jazzercise used to be, you're doing all these different kinds of exercise. Now they're changing to this, then they're changing to that. If
Right.
you
Right.
had video on me doing it, I would be so embarrassed. I look foolish. I can by the time I'm getting it, what they're doing, it's like they change and I'm like, oh no, how do you do this? But that was day one, and I found myself coming back like kind of excited about to see how much better I would be doing. So it's
Right.
working on my coordination and stuff like that. So trying to embrace the change and changing
I
up your
like that.
workout. Changing
Yeah.
up your workout's always a good thing.
Yeah, you're right about that. And because you got that muscle memory thing going on and
Yes.
everything. And yeah, hey, this is really good. Now, again, the name of it was
Well, I'm going to tell you
you should post
their
this,
outfit. You could, if you went to YouTube and typed in the Body Project,
the Body Project.
and you can go to thebodyproject.com too. They'll be
Right.
happy to sell you a fitness plan.
Oh, so there's a cost to this.
No,
No,
this is
no,
the
no, no.
free stuff, which
Okay.
brings me to a part of an O5O section I want to talk about. So this is their sales funnel. And this is something that I help clients with, is develop their own sales funnels. So you put out a lot of free stuff out there. We're putting out free stuff with our podcast. We're not charging for anything yet. But
Not yet.
I have classes that I have about 3/4 of the way developed that I just want to polish up and then be able to offer them on the things that I talk about. Um, and one of the things that I do a lot with clients is help develop their sales funnel. So whether it's an ebook, a full book, a podcast, whatever your method for putting your information together to entice people to show and to prove your expertise on a subject matter, that's bringing them into the top of their funnel. So when I go to the Body Project and I have this great experience, as I did with them, now I might be thinking, these guys have given me a lot of value. I might want to see how they can take me to the next level. Like maybe they have a nutrition plan, maybe they have a full fitness and nutrition plan calendar that they walk me through. They
Mm-hmm.
probably
Mm-hmm.
do. I haven't looked, but that's part of it. It would be wise for them to have an introductory kind of offering that may only cost $5 to $10, like a $10 2-week, 3-week fat burner package, something like that. Because once you get into that secondary stage of a funnel and you actually entered your credit card number into a sales cycle, now this is a psychology thing.
Right.
Now, yeah, you're part of the posse and you're would be willing to maybe buy another product, a premium product. So this would be an introductory product. That's the funnel. Okay. So,
Interesting.
and along those lines, I did want to give a shout out to a client, one of my favorite clients, Dr. Claudia Menadio Fox of healthinspireddentistry.com. And tend to do work with dental practices, periodontists, and some medical practices, a plastic surgeon, and so on. And it's just a really nice fit for me. It's something that I've kind of gotten acclimated to over the years. And she is a holistic dentist. So she offers massages before a dental procedure so that you hopefully need a little less of the medications, calms you
Hmm.
down, and
I never
all of
heard of that
those.
before.
To tell you the truth, she's the first holistic dentist that I had heard of, but there are several throughout Ohio. And she was referred to me by a friend and colleague because someone redid her website about a year and a half ago and completely destroyed her search engine optimization. So all of a sudden, she wasn't getting found. This is usually how I get new clients, is fixing these. I like a freaking plumber or something for websites. I usually called in to fix problems from people that screw up websites and SEO and things like that. So I did a 2-month package with her to right the ship. And it's like turning the Titanic, man. When you get Google penalties, it's really hard to turn them around. And so I do certain things to monitor. Okay, here's where she is currently in the SEO, and I share those forms with her, and then I measure that a month later, and then a month after that, and I've shown very good progress. But like I
Hmm.
said, it's still a process. So I had the phase two. This was back in like December or January. I'm like, well, so we finished that and we're seeing great progress. Here's what I recommend for phase two. And it is creating the sales funnels and the content to build those funnels so that it will continue to build the SEO, but it will continue to build the all important list. So it ups your Facebook subscribers, likes, people that are following you. People then will come and sign up on your website to get all that information. They see every now and then, like, wow, you've been really giving me great information. Oh, and you're going to be giving specials to these special members now and then. I understand. Shit, yeah, I'm signing up. That list is all important. So you need the content and to create this sales funnel. So you're pushing out the social media. It's like your website's the train station, the headquarters, and your social media channels are the trains. Okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they're kind of the fuel, and the website is the car, the race car.
I like what you're saying.
And so you pump this stuff out from, like, say, your blog. So you create blog posts that give really good, valuable information that you also pump out onto social media. People interact with them, and on occasion you give an offer. They come back to your website, hopefully sign up, get a coupon, and then that certain percentage of them will become patients. It's a trickle down effect. That is your funnel. Out of all of that content, like, where does that come from? Well, we have to develop it so it's very valuable. So we assemble that as ebooks. Okay, so now it's like you've gotten dripped, little subtle things that you can do along the way for your oral health and so on. Well, now maybe you want the ebook on the top 10 things you could do at home to keep your teeth clean, to whiten your teeth. Well, eventually, a lot of those people that you build that trust and relationship with are going to come in for that teeth whitener. And then a
Right.
lot of those people are going to come in when they need their, biannual cleanings. And of course, geez, you need a root canal and a crown. You want to go to some place you trust. So that's the whole process of building your
Yeah.
sales funnel.
Well, I
Oh,
I love. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah. Here's the point that I wanted to make, is bringing this back to this crazy time that we're in right now. So Dr. Menadia Fox was putting me off. She's like, oh, January, I'm too busy. Maybe February. Oh, no, too busy. How about March? Well, comes March, and I'm asking her, do you want me to put a banner up on the site telling people what your policy is right now? People got to be wondering. you know? And she's like, oh, yes, please do. We are not seeing anybody unless it's emergencies. And she goes,
Right.
and by the way, now we have all that downtime. Let's implement this whole content marketing plan that you've been, telling me about, the sales funnels and stuff, and use this time wisely because we're going to be busy again before you know it, really. And so let's have all this framework laid out. And I'm like, oh my God, that's what everyone should be doing. This is the kind of talk that people talk and talk, but few people walk the walk. And she is. So that's a shout out to her too. Use this time wisely and get your marketing put in place like this. So when you get busy again, it's already, the wheels are in motion.
Right on. Well, this goes right to what Marcus Ogden was talking about last week on our special podcast, and
Correct.
how he talked about how he had not put together a good marketing program, even though he had a great product and the business failed. And he also talked about maximizing this time right now to put together your strategy. And here you need a good guy like Barry to be able to do that. Those are really smart ideas. And I never heard of a dentist that had any kind of massage, but it makes sense. I witnessed a root canal. My wife
Oh,
have that.
I
And
had
I
one.
felt like I needed to have a massage because I was freaking out, man. I mean, I felt really bad for Anne Marie having to go through that, but I was sweating over there, man.
Yeah.
We both needed a massage before that. And that seems like such a wise thing to be able to offer. I love that idea.
Yeah, it goes well beyond that. She offers, like, her and I talked a while about what I find fascinating is, I think it's called KBD, which is like, extracted from hemp. It's it's like extracted. It's that oil that's extracted from pot but doesn't contain the THC.
Yeah,
It's
right.
like the snake oil stuff of today. Like, it cures everything. I mean, I'm hearing that constantly, but she carries a particular pure brand of that. And she goes, I did a lot of research on this. If you don't get the right stuff, you're really wasting your money. So, and I mean, she's got the crystals, she's got all natural, everything kind of
Huh,
products there, natural
interesting.
toothpaste, uh, on and on and on. So she does offer massage as well there. It's like a spa. It's like a dental spa. It's really beautiful place. So uh, I just wanted to give a shout out to her, that she's a very smart, not only obviously a talented dentist who's serving a large portion of the east side of Cleveland here, but also just a very astute health I want to say health nut. But I want to find a nicer way to say that. But a health practitioner and a former bodybuilder too. So she's just really all the way around a very healthy person.
Hey Barry, I wanted to ask you, changing the subject here.
Sure.
You talked about your workout routine and how that keeps you. Well, you've said this all along, how that really helps you not only physically but mentally. But during this time, especially, are there any movies or books or anything like that that you've experienced during this time that have helped you out to get through this time?
Well, yeah, and I think it's very valuable for us to bring this segment in to our show for at least the next month or two, uh, because we didn't talk about it much before. I mentioned before, I am still binging on Schitts Creek. I just
The
absolutely
name.
love. Exactly. I love that show. I love every character on that show, so I highly recommend it. But mix it up. I mentioned The Good Place before. Last 2 nights ago, I heard on a podcast somebody talking about the show that they're a short like a docu-series, they call it, on Netflix, called Tiger King. I've been hearing this talked up so much that I had to start watching it. I think it's about 6 1-hour episodes, I think, because I keep falling asleep. I watch it at night when I go to bed and I fall asleep.
Hmm.
Anyways, it is bizarro. I would say it's something like sandwich in between Schitt's Creek episodes, because I do feel a little dirty after a while of watching it, because this is misfits. First of all, it's about uh, people that buy big cats, tigers, cheetahs, stuff like that. In here in the United States, mostly like in Texas and Oklahoma, but even Ohio, and they make their own zoos with all of these big giant tigers and stuff.
Right, right. I've
Dude,
heard of
these
this.
you have?
Oh yeah, I believe Mike Tyson, when he lived in Cleveland, had several big cats.
Yeah, well, this docu-series is really taking you deep into this culture. Oh man, Merle, what a bunch of misfits. These are like, how do these people find each other? It's cult-like. It's very cult-like. So I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take it in small doses. Is what I'm saying. But interesting. And even though I'm like only an episode and a half into this, I'm gonna say I hope it just opens our eyes up in this country to what's going on. These cats. There's more of these cats in captivity here in the United States than there is the entire rest of the world.
Mm.
About that. That's disgusting.
I don't know. Now, does that when you okay? So while during this time, I have been, because of course we're being bombarded by the news. It's sort of sci-fi like and everything, and I'm really looking for things that make me feel good. And so,
Yes.
what about that show? I mean, because that seems a lot like sci-fi to me.
Sci-fi. That's funny. What I would more equate it to is what's hard to. I guess it's a little sci-fi. What's hard to avoid are dystopian movies and stuff
Yeah,
and shows. And
dystopian.
dystopian means like after the end of the world, after the world goes to shit. Here's how
Yeah.
people survive. The Walking Dead is a case of that. Altered Carbon is a show that has a lot of acclaim on Netflix, which is kind of like that. And I have to take those kind of shows in small doses, but this kind of for some reason reminds me more of that. It's like, holy shit, I can't believe our world has come to this, where we have these people like it's kind of like in Utah, that Mormon culture meets a zoo, something like that. Because there's like in the first part of the second episode, they start talking about these, interviewing these girls that have fallen prey to, it's cult like, to this guy who's married to or has many multiple girlfriends who are working for him at these zoos from 8 in the morning to midnight for $100 a week. And so he's running his own empire, his zoo empire, and banging all these girls.
Wait, this is real? Like these are
Yes.
real people?
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's bringing me down, man.
I know, but it is enough that when you see some of this, like I can't wait to get back to my buddy Irby. He and I were talking. He's my happy hour buddy. And obviously we haven't been doing happy hour, but he's like, come on, man, we got to do like a Skype happy hour or something. And we'll talk about this and laugh,
Oh, well, that's cool.
Yeah. We'll be laughing our butts off about it. So it's something to break up, but other feel good stuff. I started watching a little bit of a show called Glow,
Hmm.
Glorious Ladies of Wrestling. And
Oh, yeah, yeah.
you've heard of it. It's
Well,
set in like
they're
the
like,
80s
oh, okay.
or
Interesting.
is it 70s? It's something like 70s or 80s, like, and you know what everything was like back then. People are dressed really funny, and everyone's smoking, like even on airplanes and stuff like that. So
Right, right.
it's funny in itself to see that. But it's about this band of misfit girls that get together on this remote cable channel, and their show airs at 2 in the morning on Saturday nights. Okay, in one town of California, and how it catches on. Their struggle to have it catch on. It's a comedy. Okay, it's super light. It's dumb, and you're rooting for them all the time. And remember how everybody used to, like, the debate was that, is that real or is it not? Big time wrestling.
Right,
And it's still back in that era where people think it's real, which is
right.
amazing. It's funny just watching them do these wrestling matches and people think it's real. So,
that is pretty funny. You know, I took my son. He really loves the. I guess it's the WWE now, but
I guess
I
I don't know.
had I took him to one of those events downtown at the Staples Center, and we had basically front row or ringside seats,
Mm.
and it was really fun. And it was interesting too, because when you're ringside, you can actually hear them call out to each other exactly what they're going to do next, like what the play is or whatever, double reverse or whatever it is, and then they
Uh-huh.
go and do it, and then so that it's all choreographed and everything. I think there's some things in there that are surprising to the other person, but pretty much it's all planned out. And but you can't take away the fact that these are amazing athletes, even though the thing is choreographed. The strength that it takes to do what they're doing alone
They
is
take a beating.
yeah. How do you do it? And then they actually had the female wrestlers as well that are in the WWE, and many of them were descendants or the children of these other well-known wrestlers, like Ric Flair's daughter was out there,
Uh,
and several other daughters, and they all look like supermodels out there,
right.
but they kind of do the same thing that their parents were doing in the ring. It was fun.
Oh,
But
I'm glad you had
yeah.
fun. I would never go to that. I
Yeah, I
just
can't imagine you being over there. I could just hear you. Oh, that's stupid.
you know I would. You know I would.
They
I'd
would
get
hear
kicked
you
out.
too, and they'd come and drag you into the ring.
Beat the hell
That
out of me.
sounds like fun.
Yeah, that's funny. Hey, what about you? It's a beautiful day out there. As soon as we're
Here
done with this,
too.
I'm going out and doing a bike ride or at least a walk.
That sounds good. Wear your mask.
I'm not wearing a mask.
Wait, hold on. I got to tell you, I wore a mask the other day because the first time, but I was going to the drugstore to pick up a prescription, and that's where all the sick people are going. So I thought,
That makes sense.
Anne-Marie had these masks that she's got, the N95 or whatever it is they recommend.
Right. I think it's
now.
95. Something
Yeah.
95. Yeah.
So I had this, and I was feeling kind of silly about the whole thing. I walked up there. It's only a couple of blocks away, and I'm like, should I put this on? I don't know. And I even had rubber, like surgical gloves too, because you got to touch the machine up there, the check, the credit card machine. I'm like, I don't want to touch that, but you have to. So I put it on, and I was actually pretty glad that I put it on. Almost everyone in there, including the people behind the counter, had one on. They even had like lines on the floor so that you knew where to stand to keep your social distancing.
Right.
But I gotta say, after about 2 minutes of wearing that mask, I was practically suffocating in that thing, and it was so hot. It was so hot.
And think if you're a surgeon doing a 4-hour surgery.
That's exactly what. On the counter, they got to wear these masks all day long, and so I was just amazed at the resiliency that these people must have, having to wear this all. I was only in there for 10 minutes. I couldn't believe what they have to deal with. So anyway, I was so happy to get out of there and take that thing off.
Well, I'm glad as I just very braggadociously said, "Oh, I'm not wearing a mask," but under what you just described, I'm glad you wore a mask. No,
Yeah,
but to go for a walk,
happy. Yeah.
I have to say I have been walking a lot the last few days because of all this, and just once in a while, there are a lot of people walking,
right,
which is great, but there has been a lot of incidences where it's like groups of people, like single file, man. Don't make me go way off the path or something, but don't be like bumping into me.
That's the thing, right? It's
yeah.
Like, what are you thinking?
Yeah, no, it's like most people, I'm going to be honest, most people are doing very good practices. It's just a few that are, I don't know, arrogant or something, that it's like, yeah, go single file when you're going to pass people. So
I agree.
Stay a few feet away.
On the other side, like way.
I do that a lot when possible.
Well, the other person has to do that too. I mean, it's like don't come in my path here. I might get your droplets.
Yeah, exactly. Nah, that's yeah, that's whatever you can do. And if you, how'd you get that mask anyway? Because that's the
Well,
good one.
Anne Marie, you know what? A long time. Anne Marie is so good. She should be like a quartermaster for the military because she orders these things up. She had this like over a year ago. She had them in our emergency fund because we have earthquakes here, and so she had a big plan, and just in case something happened, we might need this. So she actually has a whole bunch of them. Somebody even asked me at the door, "Where did you get that? How did you get that?" I said, my wife thinks of everything.
Yeah, yeah. Here, you can have it for $30.
No, I didn't want to touch them.
Right.
But you asked me, what it is that inspires me during this time. I'll tell you,
Yes.
one of the things that I really have been focusing on during this time is the Bible. There is a Psalm 91, and I've been reading that several times a day. It's a prayer of protection. And so anybody pick up a Bible, read that Psalm, you will feel so much better about God's protection and the fact that he's with you. That is a good one to go to among almost everything else in there. But for me, that's one of the ones that I've been focusing on. I've also got these inspirational the books, devotionals that I read. One of them is by Jonathan Cahn, called The Book of Mysteries. And he is he's Jewish, but he's a convert to Christianity. And he's got these, you can read them in about 2 minutes, and every single one of them is so inspirational. I've been very moved, and it causes me to just feel this feeling of intense protection from the Lord. And I just really believe right now is such a good time to practice your faith. Very
Yeah.
important. This is, I mean, there is no better time than to practice your faith right now because, and I say practice because it's something it's like anything else. You get better and better at it over time. And there's a rampant fear that's going on right now. And I think fear leaves open a door for bad things to come in. And
yes.
however you think about it, the way that I think about it is you're opening up the door or the window for the enemy to come in. And it's that fear is the opposite of faith. So if you can just stay in faith, stay in love, that is really where you need to be. Outside of that, there's a couple of movies I've seen recently that have really uplifted my spirits. And one of them was an older movie back in 2001. Keanu Reeves is in this, and Diane Lane, called Hardball. I don't know if you saw that one before, but
no.
he takes over this ghetto baseball team that with these kids that are like 12 years old, and it's just an amazing overcoming story. It's funny,
Yeah.
it's lighthearted. There's a couple serious parts that might make you cry, but for joy, I highly recommend it. And there's another silly one that I saw. Yeah, it's a good one. Another silly one I saw was The Big Year. Do you remember that one?
Is it a show or a movie?
It's a movie. This one had Steve Martin, Jack Black, and Owen Wilson in it. It's a 2011 movie, and it's about bird watchers. And I thought this was going to be really dumb, and Anne Marie made me watch it. And boy, was that ever a feel-good movie. I'm telling you, it just lightened up. It's a great movie. We're all trapped inside. These are great movies to just, kick back and watch it. You're going to feel good about this. Stupid bird watching. I'm sorry if anybody out there is a bird watcher, but it seems stupid to me. But it wasn't really about that. It was about it, and it wasn't about it.
It was a metaphor, right?
Sort of. I mean, they were bird watching, and it's just when you get those three together, it's going to be funny.
Sure,
and that was a funny movie, and there was also some very feel-good moments in that. And I think we all need to feel good right now.
Agreed.
And another one probably no one has heard of, and I had never heard of, was called Poms, Poms. And this one had Diane Keaton in it. And it's about this woman who finds out that she's terminally ill, and she moves into a retirement community, and she gets all these women to start a cheerleading club. and it sounds really silly, and I thought it
Yes.
was going to be dumb too, but oh my gosh, that made me feel so good. So there's three movies. That one's a 2019 movie. So there's three movies right there that
And please just repeat the titles again.
okay, so there's Poms, Poms, like pom poms, and then there's Hardball, and then there's The Big Year.
Cool. Okay. I want to check those out because it's hard to find these feel good things. Man, we need it so bad. There's so much anxiety out there. Um, what else you got? You got any political stuff? We got about
Yeah, we
six,
only have
7.
a few minutes
Mm,
left, but I just wanted to say that the stimulus package that just passed the Senate and now it's going to the House, $2 trillion. You can see that this has had a dramatic impact on the stock market. As
mm,
soon as they started becoming serious about this, we had our biggest stock market gain in all of history happen the other day. And today, just before I got on the show, it was up over 1,000 points because it just passed the Senate last night. So there's a silver lining around our financial woes that are happening right now. This is going to inject money into the businesses that are out there that have not been able to do business and
mhm.
help to keep them afloat during this time. And I imagine that's why the stock market's up. Also, there's stimulus for people that are out of work and extending unemployment and other things as well. On the flip side of that, I it's $2 trillion, and that is an unfathomable amount of money. And of course, that's going to put the taxpayers on the hook. But it seems like what else could we do on that whole thing? I'm not really sure.
I
But
don't either.
you think about $2 trillion. That's about 10% of the gross national product. So that's a lot of cashola right there that we're
It's
going to have to
it's kind of
deal with.
incomprehensible, I think.
It's totally
Hmm.
incomprehensible. Even a million is incomprehensible, but a trillion,
Mm.
that's unreal. But it has had an impact, and we're looking at some positive things here. The other thing I wanted to point out is I think it's interesting how they're having these daily conferences to update the American people. It kind of reminds me of the fireside chats that FDR was doing that are we're uplifting to the people, giving them information about what's going on, coming directly from the president of the United
Hmm.
States. And I'm seeing this thing that's happening between President Trump and I think his name is I think you pronounce it Fauci, the guy from the CDC that's in charge of the CDC and his take and something about. And I wanted to get your take on this, Barry. Is I see Trump talking about everyone getting back to work and by Easter time having the
Hmm.
churches all filled up and everything, and then you've got Fauci coming back and saying,
Hmm.
"Well, I like that, but we got to be flexible about this whole
Hmm.
thing, and we may not be back by Easter." And
Hmm.
how's that? Have you seen this?
I have. I'm trying to take it all in moderation, and I'm seeing the criticism, and I'm trying to take that in moderation. But you know what? It kind of seems like good cop, bad cop to me. Don't you
Yeah, it
kind of think?
does.
Because
I see that too.
okay. Because Trump, like, he doesn't want to go into something worse than the Great Depression, which
No.
is a distinct possibility. So he wants to keep hope alive, and I understand that. I he I don't think he's the most inspiring speaker with all of his hyperboles and stuff, but I get the intent. And so then you got Fachi. I can't remember how you say his name. He's just trying to throw a little reality back onto that, and I think he's doing a good job of it without being insulting. Don't you think?
I think so too. And I actually think it's a good strategy because I think the leader, who is the president, in times of darkness has to be light. And he's the guy it's really his responsibility to keep people, buoyed up above the water so that they can breathe. And then you need to have somebody there that's going to be the reality guy
There
as
you
well,
go.
that says, hey, you know, this might go further, so that if it does go further than that, well, we were kind of prepared for that anyhow.
Right.
I just got done reading this book. I have it right here. Um, let's see, Tried by War, and it's
Nice.
Abraham Lincoln. This one is by James McPherson, and it was amazing. But it was really all about the commander in chief, and Lincoln really defines what a commander in chief is. It's noted in the Constitution that the president during war times is the commander in chief, but it doesn't really give a definition of what that responsibility entails. And you see Lincoln throughout this book really trying to inspire light in a dark situation. And he was really good at it, his sense of humor that he had. But in the meantime, he's a human being. He was completely affected by this whole thing and having to overcome the depression of people being killed, and at the same time he was relying on God. And this is this is the worst circumstance possible that the American people have ever gone through in history. And the good news is that we made it through that, and it had everything to do with the leadership of our commander in chief. And I'm seeing that. I feel like Trump must have read he's no Lincoln, but he must have read some things like that, because I see him trying to do that. And that's really all you can ask at this time, is that he's trying to spread positive vibes out there. Last thing I'll say is this: there's an email or text that's going out there that's called "How About Some Good News?" And there is a
Right.
tremendous amount of good news that's happening out there right now. You know, there are drugs out there that are being tested right now, especially in New York. Malaria
Yeah.
antivirus or
Hmm.
vaccines are being used, and they're having positive results. I read a story about a person that actually used who had already said goodbye to his family. He thought he was going to die. He couldn't breathe. He used that drug, and within a day, he was just about back to normal again. And so
Wow.
we're also seeing where private companies that are out there reinventing themselves. Ford Motor Company, they're producing ventilators now because of the shortage. We're seeing all kinds of companies that are readjusting themselves for this particular time. We've seen this in the past before. During World War II, all of these auto manufacturers and
Right.
different companies around the country pulled together, and they got different ideas, and they were able to put together life-saving treatments and life-saving technologies in times just like this. And we're seeing that. And the last thing I'll say is that, you know, we're seeing some idiots out there that are doing dumb things, and those normally get into the news. But there is such a spirit of camaraderie that's actually happening, where people are helping out other people. There are groups of people that are. I just heard about a group of medical students that volunteered to watch the children of these doctors so that they could remain in the job and continue to help the American people. There's all kinds of positive stuff like that. And if you look for it, you'll find it out there. I see good things happening. I don't think that this whole virus thing is going to last for as long as the naysayers are saying. And gosh, you know, back to the stimulus package. I'm glad that, look, it passed the Senate 96-0. When is the
Wow.
last time you've ever heard of everyone being on the same page in our Senate or Congress? I don't think that's ever happened before. So
God, there's
this
hope.
is this is an amazing time that we're in, and I think it's up to people of character to spread good news at a time like this. And there's certainly good news. We're going to get through this. We're going to make it. We're going to live. And by the way, I think we're going to be better off on the other side.
I agree with you. You know, I'm amazed, like what you said about the automotive companies, factories, and stuff that on a dime can somehow all of a sudden be so agile to what would be the word, transform their factories into creating these other products for the good of the community. That's amazing to me.
It's beautiful. It's a
It's
beautiful thing, and
beautiful.
that's the American spirit.
Yeah,
And I
it
really
is.
think it's time that we put away the partisanship and we start being proud to be in the country that we're in. God bless America. I mean, we should be singing that song everywhere. God bless America, because this is a great land with great people, and we have so much to be thankful for. And I think we should turn this around and really start thinking about all the blessings we have here. I mean, look at what we're doing right now. The fact that we can come on and do this with the technology that we have. I
Yeah.
mean, Barry, you and I have been best friends for God since college, and I can't even count the years, but the fact that it seems like we're in the same room right
Yeah.
now, just hanging out, is amazing.
It
It's
is
amazing.
amazing. It is amazing. All right, we're about an hour and five, and so we'll wrap this up. I want to ask you guys to please share this with anyone that you think can benefit from it. And we cover a lot of ground, so thanks for hanging in there with us. And don't forget to go to over50startingover.com to subscribe to your favorite podcast. We're on all the major channels, and catch us on YouTube to see our original videos at Over 50 Starting Over. And that's it. We'll see you next week. We do hopefully have a special guest coming up again this week. And it's a friend of mine, Susan Lacotte, who has been in marketing her whole life and made a huge career pivot. She's also a fitness competitor and nutritionist. So she's got a lot to offer us, and we need a female point of view on here in these regards. Don't you think, Merle?
I think so too.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll see you next week, guys. Take care, Merle.
You too, Barry.